joining us today. Secretary Yellen, and I'd ask you, please respectfully, if you could keep your answers brief. As the country begins to safely reopen and our economy recovers, is examining changes to tax policy the correct direction?
We expect to examine changes to tax policy along with programs that will address some of the longstanding problems that have held down productivity and labor supply in the United States. We'll address infrastructure, risks from climate change, education, training.
Let me ask you, ma'am, Secretary, what impact would this action have on jobs and workers' wages?
I think a package that consists of investments in people, investments in infrastructure, will help to create good jobs in the American economy, and changes to this tax structure will help to pay for those programs.
Well, Secretary Yellen, what tends to be the impact, I guess I'd ask, on the American consumer, my constituents, when corporate taxes are raised? Do the costs usually tend to be passed down to them?
The impact of changes in corporate taxes have been studied by economists for a long time, and the impact of them on prices and on consumers are very unclear from existing studies.
Well,
Go
ahead, please.
We do need to raise revenues in a fair way to support the spending that this economy needs to be competitive and productive. And
so let me just say this, Secretary Yellen, if I could. I think we know that raising the corporate tax rate results in higher costs for small businesses, schools, and American households. Then why is this country begins to reopen and recover economically, would the Biden administration be proposing tax policy which would, in the end, hurt the American family and millions of struggling small businesses?
The Biden administration is not going to propose policies that hurt small businesses or Americans. The Biden administration is going to propose investments this economy has long needed to be competitive and productive, and support for...
With all due respect, ma'am, I would say this. Certainly raising taxes on business and industry is going to affect consumers and households and American families in a very adverse way. Is this being proposed, these tax increases, to offset the costs of the recently enacted partisan stimulus package, ma'am?
No, the stimulus package, the American Rescue Plan, was not funded with any increases in taxes, but a longer-term plan that addresses critical needs of this economy probably would be accompanied by some revenue raisers.
Yes, I'd say so. And I'd say that the plan as it exists right now hasn't been paid for. For example, let me just say this. Last month, lumber prices hit an all-time high, doubling in price from just 3 months ago. Gasoline prices jumped 6.4% over the previous month, while electricity and natural gas prices rose 3.9%, not to mention housing prices and other manufacturing supply chain goods. Are these steady increases a sign that once the economy fully reopens, we're likely to see parts of the economy where demand is intense, at least for a period of time, leading to some additional, I think, price pressures? Let me ask you this, Chairman Powell, in my limited time. Could you describe in detail the wide range of policy tools the Fed has at its disposal to address what is obvious inflationary pressures that we're seeing already?
Well, our most basic tools are here to try to achieve price stability, and those principally are interest rates and moving interest rates up and down. As I mentioned a few minutes ago, though, our best expectation is that there'll be modest upward pressure on prices this year, but that they won't be particularly large or persistent. into the future, but we do have those tools and we'll use them.
Thank you. My time is expired. I shall yield back.